Okay, we have an order for erythromycin 150 milligrams POQ 6 hours. We have a child's weight of 33 pounds. We have a child's drug dosage of 30 to 50 milligrams per kilogram per day in divided doses. And what we have available to us is erythromycin estolate, 125 milligrams per 5 milliliters. The first thing I like to do is I want to figure out how many doses this child's going to be receiving per day. So what we're going to look at first is we're giving this child a medication every 6 hours. So there's 24 hours in one day, and we're giving one dose of medication every 6 hours, right? So we go like this and like this. 24 times 1 is 24. 1 times 6 is 6. So we are giving 4 doses of medication per day. The next thing I want to do is I want to figure out the total milligrams of this medication we're going to be given per day. So what we do here is we take 150 milligrams per one dose, and we have 4 doses, right, where we're going to be giving per day. So we take 150 times 4 equals 600 milligrams per day. And that's the total milligrams per day. It's not based on weight yet. That's just the total milligrams per day. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the child's weight. Here we have it in pounds, but we're looking for everything's in kilos. So we need to convert 33 pounds into kilograms. So how do we do this? We say what we know is that 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. And we have a child that weighs 33 pounds. So we go across 33 times 1 is 33 over 2.2 equals 15 kilograms. The child weighs 15 kilograms. The next thing we want to do, our next question, is we want the low dosage range per dose. So that would be this right here, the low dosage range per dose. But the low dosage range, the range that we're given here is 30 to 50 milligrams per kilogram per day. It's not per dose, it's per day. So what we need to do is figure out the low dosage range per dose. How do we go about doing that? So we need to set up our dimensional analysis. So we have 30, right, milligrams per kilogram. And we have a 15 kilogram child, right? Because we're looking at milligrams per kilogram. But first we're going to figure out milligrams per kilogram per day because that's what we're given. So 30 times 15 equals 450. And we're going to say, that's per day. We're going to say, that's not there. That's just a 1 there. That's nothing there. So 450 milligrams per day. But now we need to figure out the low dosage range per dose. We're looking per dose, not per day, so we're not done yet. So we have 450 milligrams per day, and we have one day. In one day, we get 4 doses. So we have 450 divided by 4, right? So we'll cross out the day. So we will have 450 divided by 4 equals 112.5. Always go to the first decimal place. Always go to the first decimal place. Round to the first decimal place. So 112.5 milligrams per dose is our low range. This is low. All right. So our next calculation is, what is the high dosage range per dose? So here we have to look at 50 now, right? That's the high dosage range per dose. But remember, we have 2 steps to finding this because we're given the drug dosage range in milligrams per kilograms per day. So the next step we do is we do the same setup here, 30 milligrams over kilogram per day, 30 milligrams per kilogram per day. But we're going to take the high, this is going to be 50 because we're taking the high, right? Taking the high dose now, 50 milligrams per kilogram per day. We want to get rid of that there. Sorry about that. 50 milligrams per kilogram per day. And we have a child that's 15 kilograms, right? So now we're going to take 50 times 15 equals 750 milligrams per day. Let me erase this little extraneous things here. Oops. Per day. 1 day, 4 doses. So now this is going to be 750 divided by 4 equals 187.5 milligrams per dose for our high dose range per dose, right? Now we have to look at is the prescribed dose, which would be 150 milligrams, within safe parameters. So we just calculated our low and our high dosage. So our low dosage is 112.5 milligrams per dose. Our high is 187 milligrams per dose. What we have ordered is 150 milligrams, which falls in between 112 and 187. So yes, it is safe. So we can say yes, yes, it is safe. Now we need to go to how many milliliters will the child receive per dose. Okay, so we have to go back to what we have. We have 125 milligrams per 5 milliliters. So now we're going to look at, we have 150 milligrams for 1 dose of medication. And we have 5 milliliters available to us. That's a concentration of 125 milligrams. So we're going to cross out the milligrams, and that means we multiply 150 by 5 over 1 equals 750 over 125, which gives us 6 milliliters per dose. We have an order for Dilantin 60 milligrams POBID. We have a child's weight of 12 kilograms. Well, yippee! We don't have to do any conversion. Child's drug dose is just 4 to 8 milligrams per kilogram per day. What we have available to us is Dilantin 30 Pediatric, which is 30 milligrams per 5 milliliters. Okay, just like last time, the first thing I want to do is I want to figure out how many doses they're going to get per day. So we are getting it BID, so we all know that means twice a day. But we'll do the calculation, 24 hours in 1 day. 1 dose every 12 hours. So that means 24 divided by 12 equals 2 doses per day. I'm going to get 2 doses per day. And now we want to figure out the total milligrams. So we have 60 milligrams per dose. And we have 2 doses per day. So we'll get rid of our doses. 60 times 2 equals 120 milligrams per day. So that's our total milligrams per day, right? This might come in handy later, so we'll pay attention to that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at what is the low dosage range per day. So we're looking at per day. Last time we looked at per dose, but today we're looking at per day. This one, we're looking at per day. So the drug's dosage, trial drug doses is 4 to 8 milligrams per kilogram per day. So our next calculations are going to be 4 milligrams. Let's erase that. That doesn't look very good. This is really not working out well. 4 milligrams per kilogram per day. And then we have a child that weighs 12 kilos, right? 12 kilograms. And that will give us, remember we're going to cross out our kilograms, and that will give us 4 times 12 is 48. I don't know why. 48 milligrams per day. So 48 milligrams per day, right? That's our low end. So the next one is the high dose range. So for this one, we see 8 milligrams per kilogram per day, right? So we're going to do 8 milligrams per kilogram per day. And we have 12 kilograms. And we're going to cross out our kilograms. So that gives us 8 times 12 is 96 milligrams per day. That's our high. Okay. Now, we're going to look at is the prescribed dose within safe parameters. So our low dosage range per day was 48 milligrams. Our high dosage was 96 milligrams. But remember, way back in the beginning, we calculated how many milligrams per day, and we calculated, given 2 doses a day, we'd have 120 milligrams per day. So was that within the range of 48 and 96? No, it's not. So it's not a safe dose, because 120 is not in between 48 and 96. But let's say it were a safe dose. How many milliliters would we give to this child? So 60 milligrams per 1 dose. And then we have 5 milliliters, right? That's what we're given right here. 5 milliliters, and there's 30 milligrams per 5 milliliters. So we're going to take and cross out our milligrams, and we have 60 times 5, which is 300, divided by 30 equals 10 milliliters per dose. Okay. Okay, here's the last one I'd like to go over with you all. So our order is for amoxicillin 100 milligrams PO Q8. The child's weight is 31 pounds. Oh darn, we have to do conversion. Child's drug dosage is 20 to 40 milligrams per kilogram per day in divided doses. What we have available is amoxicillin 125 milligrams per 5 milliliters. First thing I want to do is I want to figure out how many doses I'm going to be giving this child per day. So we're giving it every 8 hours, so we have 24 hours in one day, and we have 1 dose we're given every 8 hours. So we'll cross those out. 24 divided by 8 equals 3 doses per day, right? Because we have doses and days left. The next thing I want to do, I love to just see what the total milligrams a child is getting per day. So we are going to calculate this by 100 milligrams per dose, right? That's what it says we're getting, 100 milligrams PO Q8 hours. And then we have 3 doses per day. So we'll cross out our doses, and we'll multiply 100 times 3 equals 300 over 1. So it's just 300. So it's 300 milligrams per day, right? Because we cross out doses. So that's our total milligrams per day. 300. Okay, now let's get on with the rest of our calculations. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the child's weight in kilograms, right? Because we have pounds here. So we know 1 kilogram is worth 22.2 pounds. And we have a child that's 31 pounds. I'm not sure why this is not doing so well. Okay, so we go across, and it's 31, multiply across. I think it's just the center of this page. It just doesn't want to work. The pen doesn't want to work. 31 divided by 2.2 equals 14.09. But we need to round to the nearest tenth, So in children, you always round to the nearest tenth, so it would be 14.1 kilograms. So 14.1 kilograms. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at low dosage range per day and high dosage range per day. First, we'll look at the low dosage range per day. The low dosage range per day, as we see up here in our range, is 20 milligrams per kilogram per day in divided doses. So we're going to look at this 20 first, the low dose range. So we're going to say 20 milligrams per kilogram per day. And then we have 14.1 kilograms, right? Will equal 20 times, but let's cross out our kilograms first. So we have 20 times 14.1, which equals 282 milligrams per day for our low range per day, right? We're going range per day, not per dose, per day. So now let's do our high dosage range per day. The high dosage range per day was 40. So we'll go 40 milligrams per kilogram per day. 14.1 kilograms, right? Cross out our kilograms. 40 times 14.1 equals 564, because 1 times 1, when you go across that, it's just 1. So 564 milligrams per day, right? Milligrams per day. Okay, now, is this prescribed dose safe? So is this 100 milligrams POQ8, is that safe? Well, our low dosage range per day says 282 milligrams, and our high dosage is 564 milligrams per day. And when we calculate it up here, our total milligrams per day up here was 300 milligrams per day. So 300 falls in between 282 and 564. 300 total milligrams per day which is the ordered dose, falls in between 282 milligrams per day and 564, so it is safe. Yes, it is safe. So then now, let's go and calculate how many milliliters we should give. So, how many milliliters do we give? We have 100 milligrams, 100 milligrams per dose, right? And we have what we've been given. We're going to multiply 100 times 5, and this is just 1 times 125. So we are going to get 500 divided by 125, which, I'll go down here, is equal to 4 milliliters per dose, right? Because we cross out the milligrams, so 4 milliliters per dose. And that's it. I know it's kind of messy. It's kind of hard for me I'm learning how to write on this pad. But anyway, I hope you learned from these examples. And the med exam questions will be very similar to these examples. So just know how to do these types of questions, okay? All right, thank you. Have a great night and happy studying.